Let's get into how do we actually invest. The first thing to understand about how to invest in the stock market is to understand that we can actually invest in a variety of things. So you can invest in companies, like investing in stocks. So the better that a company does financially, the better that your investment is gonna do. You could also invest in real estate. So your family may have bought a house in the 90s and maybe they bought it for $100,000 at that time. But over time, nowadays, your family home is worth $1 million. That 900K difference that you're seeing there is known as real estate appreciation. And appreciation is a term to describe what happens to your asset when it appreciates over time, so it increases in value over time. You could also invest in collectibles. So Pokemon cards, for example, the first edition Charizard cards are going for like $20,000 these days. But back in the 90s, the late 90s, when the Pokemon cards just came out, those cards were probably worth no more than $20. Now, all of these investments do carry risk, and it can be pretty difficult if you're a beginner to figure out what to actually invest in. But I promise you, if you just keep watching, we're gonna answer all of these questions. For this video, we're gonna be talking about investing in the stock market. So investing in companies, as this is the most common type of investment and also has the most predictable returns over a long period of time. I'm gonna define a long period of time as anything over 10 years, but the longer that you hold onto your stocks and investments, the better. And I'm gonna show you with a stock market example. So this is the graph that represents the S&P 500, which is known as the top 500 companies in the United States. And I'm gonna explain a little bit later in this video how to buy this exact market or this exact S&P 500 with just one purchase. But what I wanna show you guys is what's really interesting here is that if we click on Max, we can see that this S&P 500 was started back in 1983. And you can see that the general trend and the general direction is that it goes upward over time. Now, sure, there are some dips and there's some valleys right here. As you can see, famously in 2008, the market kind of had this little crash right here. And same in the 2000s, it also, the dot-com bubble, it also crashed right here as well. So sometimes there are periods where if you don't hold long enough, you could lose money. So for example, if you bought in 2000, you sold in 2003 right here, you would have lost money investing in the S&P 500. But if you had held long enough, you can see that back over here in 2015, you would have made money on it because it's higher. This number right here is higher than what it was back in 2003. Historically, if you invest in the S&P 500 index, it typically returns between 8 to 10% a year, and that's since the inception of the S&P 500. So that means if you had put $100 of your hard-earned money back in 1980, let's say you were alive back then, and you invested it into the stock market, it would be worth $9,977 today. Adjusted for inflation, $100 is worth $360 today, but that means that your money still would have gone up about 27 times in value just for investing. And that's why it's so important to invest and grow your money so that you're not just leaving money on the table. And honestly, investing is not that difficult, especially if we know what to invest in. So let's actually get into what do we actually invest in. All right, in terms of what to invest